Her car was backed into an abandoned barn. Not crashed, not rolled, not abandoned in a ditch the way a car looks when something went wrong on the road. Backed in, deliberately, like someone had taken the time to reverse it carefully, into the side of a building on a dirt road in the middle of a Vermont night. The rear bumper was wedged against the foundation. The back tires were lifted off the ground. The car was not going anywhere. The keys were missing. Inside, 2 unopened paychecks, addressed to Brianna Maitland, still in their envelopes. The money she had worked for, sitting on the seat of a car she would never drive again. A state trooper stood on that dirt road on the morning of the 20th of March, 2004, looking at that scene, trying to make sense of what he was looking at. A car backed into a barn on a road barely anyone used, a mile from the restaurant where a 17-year-old girl had finished her shift the night before. She had been headed home. She never got there. And the scene in front of that trooper, the deliberateness of it, the careful reversal into the foundation, the missing keys, the untouched paychecks told him something immediately. Something that Vermont State Police would confirm in the days that followed. This was not an accident. This was not a girl who drove off the road and wandered into the dark. Something had been done here, on a quiet dirt road in Montgomery, Vermont, in the space between 11:20 at night and the moment the sun came up. 21 years have passed since that morning. Brianna Maitland has never been found. But in 2025, something shifted. A couple came forward. People who had driven past that barn on the night Brianna disappeared and seen something that has stayed with them for over 2 decades. A tall, stocky man, standing in the headlights of Brianna's car, and a silver-gray Honda Civic speeding, then braking hard, right there on that road. 2 vehicles, 1 man in the headlights, evidence that has never been publicly explained. Today, we are going to Montgomery, Vermont, a town so small, it barely registers on a map. A road so quiet that whatever happened there on the night of March 19th, 2004, happened with almost nobody watching. Almost nobody. Before we go to that road, before we stand in the dark outside the old Dutch burn barn and understand what that trooper saw, you need to know who Brianna Maitland was. Not the missing persons flyer, not the case number in the FBI database, her. Brianna Alexandria Maitland was born on the 8th of October, 1986, in Burlington, Vermont. The daughter of Bruce and Kelly Maitland, raised on a farm in East Franklin, a remote, rural community near the Canadian border, where the Green Mountains rise steeply, and the winters are long, and the nearest city feels very far away. She was 17 years old when she disappeared. But do not let that number make you picture someone fragile or lost. Brianna was neither of those things. She had the particular kind of self-possession that some teenagers carry, a certainty about what she wanted and a willingness to go after it without waiting for permission. On her 17th birthday, October of 2003, she decided she was ready to move out of her parents' farmhouse, not because anything terrible had happened at home. Her mother Kelly said later there were no serious stresses. Brianna simply wanted independence, wanted to live closer to a group of friends in Sheldon, wanted to start building something that was hers. She enrolled in a different high school to be near those friends, and then by the end of February 2004, she dropped out of high school entirely. Not because she had given up on education. She was actively pursuing her GED, working toward it with the same determination she brought to everything else. She was working 2 jobs, a dishwasher at the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery, and shifts at a dairy farm. 17 years old, supporting herself, studying for her GED, making plans for an apartment deposit, building a life from scratch in a part of Vermont that offered very little to someone starting with nothing. She was tough, resilient, trained extensively in jiu-jitsu since she was young, a detail that matters not just as background but as character. This was not a girl who shrank from difficulty. And yet, 3 weeks before she disappeared, she was attacked. A female former friend named Keely Laycross approached Brianna at a party. The motive was murky jealousy over a mutual male friend, according to those who were there. Brianna was sitting in a truck. Despite her martial arts training, despite everything her body knew about self-defense, she refused to fight back. She sat there and absorbed the blows. Lacrosse hit her multiple times. Brianna walked away with a broken nose and a concussion. She filed charges. 3 weeks later, she was gone, and the charges were dropped. That detail has never fully gone away. The timing of it, the charge filed, the girl who attacked her, the case dropping the moment Brianna could no longer pursue it. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. The 19th of March, 2004. A Friday. It was a good day for Brianna Maitland, one of the genuinely good ones. That morning, she sat a math exam at the Community College of Vermont, the final piece of her GED, and she passed. Her mother, Kelly, was with her. They celebrated together breakfast out, shopping in Street Albans, an afternoon that felt like the beginning of something. A mother and daughter on the good side of a difficult few months. Brianna was in a great mood, bright, relieved, looking forward. But somewhere during that afternoon shopping trip, something happened. They were waiting in the checkout line of a store when Brianna's attention caught on something outside, something through the glass. She told her mother she would be right back and stepped out. Kelly finished paying. She met Brianna in the parking lot a few minutes later. Brianna seemed different, unnerved, shaken, agitated in a way that had not been there before. Her mother noticed, did not push, did not ask what she had seen or who. She dropped Brianna off at Jillian Stout's house between 3:30 and 4 in the afternoon. Brianna left a note for Jillian saying she would be back after her shift. She headed to the Black Lantern Inn for work. That was the last time Kelly Maitland saw her daughter. She did not know it yet. She would not know it for 4 more days. But in that parking lot in Street Albans, something had frightened Brianna. Something that may have been connected to everything that came after. What Brianna saw through that store window has never been identified. Brianna's shift at the Black Lantern Inn that evening was unremarkable. Co-workers noticed nothing unusual about her mood. No visitors came to see her. No phone calls incoming or outgoing. She worked. She finished. Around 11:20 at night, she was seen by a co-worker getting into her green 1985 Oldsmobile in the parking lot. She pulled out. She drove away. The Black Lantern Inn to the house where she was staying was a short drive. 1.5 miles through Montgomery and onto the road toward Sheldon. A drive she had made dozens of times. A route she knew. She never made it. Less than a mile from the restaurant on Route 118, something happened. At a location known locally as the Old Dutchburn Barn property, an abandoned farmhouse set back from the road. The kind of place nobody went to at midnight. The kind of place you would only know about if you were local. Her car was found backed into the side of that barn the following morning. The trooper who responded stood on that dirt road and looked at the scene and felt something was deeply wrong with it. Because cars do not reverse themselves into barns. Drivers who lose control on winter roads do not park their vehicles neatly against a foundation before disappearing. The deliberateness of it, the careful, unhurried reversal into that building pointed towards something the trooper did not want to name yet but could not unsee. Someone else had been there. Here is where the investigation immediately ran into a problem that has defined it ever since. Nobody reported Brianna missing for 4 days. Because of the nature of her life, couch surfing between friends, moving between addresses, living with a flexibility that meant she was not always where anyone expected, the people around her did not immediately understand that her absence was not a choice. Her roommate Jillian assumed she had gone somewhere else for a few nights. Her parents, who were not in daily contact, did not receive the call until Jillian finally reached out to them on the 23rd of March. 4 days. 4 days during which the scene at the Old Dutchburn Barn was just an abandoned car on a dirt road. During which the trail went from cold to frozen. During which whatever scent evidence existed faded, whatever tire tracks settled into the mud, whatever witnesses might have remembered details started forgetting them. Vermont State Police described it themselves. The golden hours, the first 48 to 72 hours of a missing persons investigation, were gone before anyone knew Brianna was missing. When Bruce and Kelly Maitland drove to the State Police Barracks on the 25th of March to drop off photographs of their daughter, a trooper showed them a picture of the green Oldsmobile backed into the barn. Kelly said later, "My stomach rolled. I started to shake. I saw evil in the picture." She knew. The moment she saw it, she knew. Whatever the official theories were, whatever the initial skepticism about whether Brianna had simply run away, Kelly Maitland looked at that photograph and understood. Her daughter had not chosen this. Right here, before the evidence, before the DNA, before the new witness who came forward in 2025. I need you to sit with something for a moment. Brianna Maitland passed her GED exam the morning she disappeared. She celebrated with her mother over breakfast. She was planning an apartment deposit. She was 17 years old, and she was building something real, not dreaming about it. Actively building it, and that evening, she drove away from work on a route she knew, and someone took all of that from her on a dark road in Vermont. Does this case make you feel the particular weight of timing? The way the best day of a difficult few months became the last one? Drop that in the comments. Tell me what that detail does to you. Because the people who work these cases say the hardest part is not the evidence, it is sitting with the moments just before, the breakfast, the exam, the good mood. The mother who did not ask what her daughter saw through that store window. Please subscribe right now, hit that notification bell. Because this case has new evidence emerging right now, evidence that was revealed in 2025, and this channel is going to be here when it moves. Share this video, because Brianna Maitland deserves the same attention that every missing woman deserves, and her family has been waiting 21 years for someone to finally say the right thing. We are not done. Because what investigators found near that barn and what came forward in 2025 takes this case somewhere it has never quite been before. In the week following Brianna's disappearance, Vermont State Police returned to the old Dutchburn barn and conducted a canine search of the surrounding area. The dog found something on the ground near the car. An item, the nature of which has never been fully disclosed publicly. Something lying in the dirt near where Brianna's Oldsmobile had been backed against the foundation. Investigators collected it, preserved it, extracted a DNA profile from it, entered that profile into CODIS, the FBI's national DNA database, compared it directly to 11 persons of interest. No match. The item sat in evidence. The DNA profile sat in the database for years, then for a decade, then for 2. In the autumn of 2016 years after Brianna disappeared, Vermont State Police partnered with a private laboratory in Texas called Othram, a company that specializes in forensic-grade genome sequencing, the kind of technology that rebuilds a DNA profile from degraded or partial evidence and then uses genealogical databases to find family connections, the same approach that caught the Golden State Killer. They rebuilt the profile. They ran the genealogical research. They developed investigative leads. Vermont State Police followed those leads, interviewed candidates, collected comparison samples. And in March of 2022, they announced that the DNA from one of those candidates matched the DNA found on the item near Brianna's car. They were careful in what they said. They stated clearly, this does not mean a suspect has been identified. The person whose DNA matched had not been charged. The investigation was continuing. But somewhere in Vermont, or somewhere beyond it, a person's DNA was found on the ground next to an abandoned car on the night a 17-year-old girl disappeared. And that person is known to investigators. And no arrest has been made. 2025. Private investigator Lou Berry, who has been working Brianna's case alongside her father Bruce for years, revealed something that had never been publicly disclosed before. A couple had come forward. People who had been driving on Route 118 on the night of March 19th, 2004. People who had passed the old Dutchburn barn around midnight in the window between when Brianna left work and when her car was found the following morning. They had seen something. A tall, stocky man, standing in front of the headlights of the green Oldsmobile, standing in the beam of the lights, directly in front of the car that a 17-year-old girl had been driving an hour before. And then, a silver-gray Honda Civic, coming down that road at speed, braking hard, right there, right at that scene. 2 vehicles, a man in the headlights, a car that braked abruptly and presumably either stopped or drove on a road that nobody should have been on at midnight. This couple had seen this, had been carrying this for over 20 years, and in 2025 they finally told someone. Who was the man in the headlights? Whose was the silver-gray Honda Civic? Did anyone in that Civic see what was happening clearly enough to change what happened next? Those questions are now part of an active investigation. Bruce Maitland has not stopped for a single day in 21 years. He founded an organization for families of missing persons. He works with private investigators. He posts on social media around every anniversary, every birthday, every March 19th that comes around and finds Brianna still gone. He wrote something once that I cannot stop returning to. He wrote, "As yet another March 19th approaches, I ask for your prayers for Bri to be found. Not for closure, not for answers. For Bri to be found, present tense. Still alive to the possibility in the only way that love can remain alive to it by refusing to use the past tense." Kelly Maitland, who saw evil in a photograph of an abandoned car and knew in her stomach what it meant, described the moment she last saw her daughter as something she has replayed thousands of times. The parking lot, Brianna's changed demeanor, the thing she had seen through the store window that she never named. What had Brianna seen? Was it the man who would take her a few hours later? Was it someone connected to the world she had been moving through, the friends, the jobs, the late nights, the anonymous tip about a drug house in Berkshire that police raided and found empty? Was it something completely unrelated to everything that came after, a coincidence of timing that means nothing? 21 years in, nobody knows. The DNA match sits in a file. The man in the headlights has a description that two people have been carrying for over 2 decades. The silver-gray Honda Civic has a driver who may have seen a crime in progress and driven away. Investigators know more today than they knew in 2004. But they do not yet have enough to close a case that should have been closed 20 years ago. Brianna Maitland passed her GED exam on the morning she disappeared. She celebrated with her mother. She had plans for an apartment deposit. She was 17 years old, and she was working 2 jobs and studying and building independence out of nothing in a corner of Vermont, where building anything from nothing is genuinely hard. She got in her car at 11:20 at night after an uneventful shift, and she drove 1 mile down a road she had driven before. And something happened in that mile. Something that left her car backed against a barn with the tires off the ground and the keys gone and 2 unopened paychecks sitting on the seat. Something that a couple driving past at midnight witnessed and carried inside themselves for 21 years before finally speaking. Something that left a DNA profile on the ground near her car, a profile that has now been matched to a person who has not been charged. Brianna Maitland would be 38 years old today if that mile had gone differently. If whatever happened in the dark on Route 118 on the night of the 19th of March 2004 had not happened, she would be 38 years old, probably with a GED certificate she was proud of, probably with an apartment she had saved for, probably building the independent life she had been so determined to build at 17. Probably something extraordinary. Before you go, I want to leave you with the question that has defined this case for 21 years and still has no answer. Who was the man standing in Brianna's headlights at midnight? Drop your theory in the comments. Tell me what you think happened on that road. Tell me what you think about the DNA match and why no arrest has been made. Tell me what you think the couple saw from their car and whether you believe what they saw changes anything. Because this case is moving, slowly, but it is moving. And the right comment from the right person could be the signal that finally breaks it open. Subscribe to the Cold Case Signals. Ring that notification bell. Share this video. 1 share. 1 more person who hears Brianna's name. 1 more signal sent into the Vermont dark on her behalf. We have more cases coming. More signals. More stories told the way they deserve, with depth, with truth, and with absolute respect for every woman at the center of them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.